What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode, very quick episode right here on the MIgardener channel. In today's episode, we're going to talk about succession planting because a lot of you want to grow more food, but not have all of your food ready all at once. And so if that's something that you're looking for, well then succession planting is something that you're going to resonate with. Now it is starting to rain and my camera is not waterproof, so this episode is guaranteed going to be a fast one. For all of you that say, Luke, your videos are too long, this episode is going to be for you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So when it comes to succession planting, the objective is to grow more food without having it all ready at once. Now if you're someone that's canning food and you want to put up and preserve your food, this is going to be something that you're not going to want to do because you're only going to get a part of your harvest, basically at a certain period of time. So for instance, lettuce. We will succession plant our lettuce so that when one plant is maturing, the next plant is starting to mature. So when we're harvesting from that plant that's already mature, we have a plant that we started maybe 2 or 3 weeks later that is starting to be ready to mature, so we can get ready to harvest that. And that way, we're not getting like 20 heads of lettuce all at once. We're getting, 1 or 2 heads of lettuce. And then in a week, we're getting 1 or 2 heads of lettuce. In another week, we're getting 1 or 2 heads of lettuce. And that way it allows us to reduce waste. Because if you're someone like me, when I grow food, I like to leave it in my garden until it's ready. But when it's ready, it's sometimes ready. And so you can't sometimes just have the luxury of leaving it in your soil. And so you might have to bring it inside. Well, once you bring it inside, as soon as you harvest it, it starts to expire. And so because we're growing highly perishable food, and sometimes it can go bad outside even, we need to make sure that we have a system in place that allows us to essentially not have all of our harvest coming at once. Now you can do this with almost any crop. Any crop can be succession planted. And we even do it with things like tomatoes. It's very, very simple. So the first thing that we are going to do is carrot. So when we're succession planting carrot, we are going to plant basically 2 rows of carrots. 2 rows, our rows are going to be 4 feet wide. So we're going to get 2 rows of carrots. And then because the germination time on carrots is on the back, it's 14 to 21 days to germinate. Basically every week, I'm going to start another row of carrots. So I'm going to do 2 rows of carrots. I'm going to wait a week, so 7 days. I'm going to plant another 2 rows of carrots, or 1, or however many you want. If you're doing it in containers, you can plant a whole container out and then plant the next week, plant another whole container out. But it does not matter how you garden, that's up to you. But I'm going to plant 2 rows of carrots. I'm going to wait 7 days because it's about half of that 14 days. And then I'm going to plant it again. And then I'm going to wait 7 more days, and I'm going to plant 2 more rows. And I'm basically going to fill up the space that I have allotted for carrots over the course of about a month to a month and a half. And when I do that, that's going to allow me to be harvesting by the time I'm almost done planting, because the carrots take about 65 days to mature. I'm going to have carrots that are almost ready to start harvesting, maybe within about 2 or 3 weeks or so. Right when I first started, all the way through when I finished planting the space out. So it's going to take roughly about 2 months to plant out the entire space that I have. And that way, all the space that I've allotted is going to be dedicated to growing carrots, but they're not all going to be ready all at once. Now, carrots can be left in the ground, so carrots is not the best example for this. But let's talk about something like beets. Beets are something where, when they're ready, you want to get them out of the ground. They can turn woody and they can kind of turn nasty on you. So what I would do is I would do the same thing. I would look at how many days to germination it is, 5 to 17 days. In my experience, beets will germinate in about 7 to 10 days. So what I'll do is I will plant 2 rows of beets. Then about 4 days, 4 or 5 days, so half of that time that it takes for them to germinate. If it takes about 8 days for them to germinate, I want to plant them every 4 days. So I'm going to plant 2. I'm going to wait 4 days. I'm going to plant 2 more rows. I'm going to wait 4 days. I'm going to plant 2 more rows. And then that way, I'm going to have a steady harvest all the way through. Now you can stagger them even further apart if you want to do so. The idea behind succession planting is something that you can adapt to your garden. This is just what I do because I don't like to have bare spots in my garden that much. And a lot of people say like, look, your garden's so full. how do you succession plant? That's because I have stuff in succession, but I succession them much closer together rather than, plant out 2 rows, wait 3 or 4 weeks and do that. You absolutely can. If you think it would take you 2 or 3 weeks to consume what you have there, that's great. The idea is planting what you think you can consume in the time frame it would take you to harvest them before the next crop is ready. That's the real idea. So if you think it's going to take you 2 weeks, sure, that's fine. Wait 2 weeks before you plant your next succession of beets. But for us, I find that, about 4 days in between each succession is going to be fine for me. For things like radishes. Radishes are a very fast turnaround crop, and we're talking like 30 days to maturity and 3 to 12 days to germinate. I usually find that they germinate in about 5 days. So what I will do is about every 3 days, I will go through and I will plant a row. I don't plant 2 rows or 3 rows because I find that we get too many radishes all at once. And radishes, they need to be harvested quickly and consumed quickly. So because of that, because they're highly perishable and they are a fast turnaround crop, I'm gonna plant 1 row, just 1 row of radishes. I'll wait 3 days, I'll plant another row of radishes. I'll wait 3 more days, I'll plant another row of radishes. And because 9 total days have elapsed, I will have plants up and already starting to mature. By the time I'm done with my rows, there will already be radishes ready to harvest. And again, that's just the idea, is that essentially then I will have about a window of about 3 to 5 days to eat that row of radishes before my next row of radishes is ready to consume. Plain and simple. You can do this with things like tomatoes, okay? Those examples are easy to understand. I hope you guys understand the concept. Fairly simple, fairly straightforward. With things like tomatoes, not as straightforward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the amount of time it takes them to mature, and I'm simply going to try to time it out so that I have 2 seasons of tomatoes. In our case, we plant a summer harvest of tomatoes, which ripens in about August, and then we have a fall harvest of tomatoes, which ripens in like the early part of October. And the way we do that is we start our tomatoes inside early, we get them maturing. About the 2nd week in June, we'll pop seeds in a pot. When everybody else is thinking, holy smokes, you're planting tomato seeds right now? I am. Because then as soon as like the 1st week of July rolls around, I'm planting those seedlings in the ground, getting them ready to go. Because then by the time they're mature, which is about 75 to 85 days, it's like the first couple weeks in October. The nights are cooler. My first round of tomatoes are already starting to die off. They've already kind of outfruited and started to dwindle. And I've already got a fresh crop of tomatoes ready to go. You can go back and watch some of our videos we did last fall, on fall tomatoes. Very popular. A lot of people loved them, and I think you would too if you've not yet seen them. But we grew tons of determinate Roma tomatoes in a time when people thought, holy smokes, Luke, you are crazy. And it's because we planted the right type of tomato at the right time. We knew how to cycle through them and succession plant them, so we had tomatoes through the entire season. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So really quick video there. Hope you guys enjoyed. That is succession planting. If you have any other questions, post them in the comments box down below. I'll be here for 30 minutes answering your questions if you have any. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something new. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel reminding you to grow big or go home. And we'll catch you all later. See ya.